you're a gift. You are a gift to this world. You are a powerful soul. You have a very big mission. And if that mission is just you healing yourself, you're doing enough for the world, because we are here for ourselves first. I believe until you can go on to heal the world, to impact the world, focus on you. Focus on healing yourself and diving into your shadows and like what's within you that you want to change. Because if you want to live that life of your dreams, it's your birthright. Tune into your heart and amplify that feeling of love and gratitude for your life. And through that, you will be amazed, and I mean this, like amazed at the synchronicities and the miracles that are thrown onto your path. The 3D is not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just that where our world used to be, we were living in so much harmony, so much beauty in our world. And then certain forces and energies came in, and because Earth is a free will zone, they chose to take over and instill more fear and scarcity into human beings. And so our DNA has been essentially like manipulated down to a 2-strand helix. And so we're basically restructuring our DNA as human beings to become superhuman DNA. We are leading ourselves towards a world which is beautiful, which is harmonic, which is community-centered, which is love-centered and heart-centered. The Ascension is really just us going back to a heart-centered reality, a place where we're all living in love and connected to our light. We're not blocked by fear and living away from our soul's purpose, because a lot of people right now, and people probably sense it, is a lot of people are completely blocked by confusion and don't know why they're here. They don't understand the greater purpose of life. You chose to be here, and then when you take back that power and you don't live in that victim consciousness, but you live in your own responsibility for being here, that's when things change. That's when Earth starts to become a beautiful world. And that's when years from now, and I see it as not far, we're gonna be living in an entirely new Earth where we're all gonna realize, wow, it was worth going through what we went through.
Today's guest is Katie Horton. Welcome, Katie. We're so excited to have you join us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we are too. I have been so excited to talk with you because I saw a video of yours, I don't know how long ago, on YouTube, and everything that you were saying just totally resonated with me. And you have so much knowledge. It's just incredible. You talk about the ascension, about raising one's vibration. And I was just so impressed because you are just so incredibly enlightened at such a young age. And it's taken me years to get to where I am to learn the little bit that I know. So I appreciate what you're sharing as wisdom. And I am just curious, though, how did you first become enlightened, or were you born this way? Or did you have an enlightening moment that took place in your life? I just want to hear a little bit more from you about how did you get started on this spiritual journey?
Yeah, oh my gosh, such a loaded question, but I love this question too, because there's like so many points in my life where I believe, when we have whatever you want to call it, spiritual awakening, there's layers to it. So I think that for me, my whole life, especially from a young age, I always perceived the world very differently. I was always very aware on like a energy level, like a very, very sensitive to energy and people and vibration and all of it. But I never knew at the time, being so young, what that was, because society, growing up, you're not really aware at that age. So I feel like ever since I was like, 6 years old, I remember just being very, very sensitive to everything, to words, to, like I said, energy and people. And it wasn't until, which is so funny, like not that long ago in 2020, where I think I had a moment during the pandemic where I just kind of woke up to like, oh no, life is very different than I thought. And I started perceiving things in a much more expanded way. But still at the time was, I think I was in college and I was just kind of like, whatever you want to call it, in the matrix at the time. And it wasn't until really 2022, like 2.5 years ago, I remember I was sitting on the beach on New Year's Day, and I don't know what it was about that day, but I was looking out at the ocean, and the ocean is very much like my happy place, my home. I was collecting seashells, and I remember just looking up, and I had this like awakening. It was like I saw life in a much more beautiful sense. And I think a lot of people, when they do awaken, they can have that beautiful moment. It can also be the polar opposite, where it's very intense and scary. And for me, it was very beautiful. And so And I will say, going back, and I've shared this in some of my videos before, I think I was always existing in what you call like the 5D frequency. I always say, like, I think a lot of children are already in that frequency. And so my whole life, I was very much this vibrant light, and just like, I love to make people laugh and just live in joy. And it's just like my natural essence to do that. And so in 2022, I remember it just expanded more and more. And I was like, from here on out, I'm going to make my life a living fairy tale, no matter what I'm doing. And I had a corporate job at the time. I was working remotely, living in Florida, and I still made it every single day when I was done working to just love my life, and whatever that meant for me, just like find beautiful soul friends, cut out people from my life that weren't supporting me or didn't agree with like my mission. And it was just, since then, it's been an ever evolving journey. And then last year was really the year for me where, I mean, to be honest, this whole past year has been such an expansive time. And a lot of what I share didn't really come online until earlier this year. It was always within me, but I think there was a clear moment in August when I got back on YouTube where I just heard Spirit say, get on YouTube. It's time to share. And I could cry because it's so like, I remember the day. I remember just feeling the urge to get on, and it was something so much greater than me that just was like, it's time to share this message. Because one of my dear friends, her and I are both very much, we talk all about like New Earth frequency, 5D, the Ascension, and she's very psychic as well. And we both just kind of tap into what we feel the world is going to look like in the future. And so for me, it's just been my mission now to share with people like the way I view the world. And so kind of like to sum up my answer to your question, it's been like such a journey. But I think that I would say the past year, to be honest, has been the most crazy, expansive, beautiful, chaotic time of my life that has enabled me to awaken to this, to be able to share the message that I share to my audience about where the world is headed and what's happening. Because I think tying that to what I was saying about like living in the 5D and having this outlook on life as being so beautiful and so joyful is, from a young age, I remember I was never able to understand why people didn't view life that way. Like it didn't really, I didn't understand that. I was like, we're all lights. We're all just here to have a beautiful time and love this life and love one another and create community. Like it was so natural for me. But living in a world and growing up in a society that didn't really reflect that, it was like very confusing for me. So I think a part of my journey as well, to be able to get to this point with YouTube, with sharing my message, has been sifting through a lot of self-doubt, a lot of like crippling self-doubt to get here. Because, you know, that part of me was like, I don't know, are people going to resonate with this? It was just so challenging. And, you know, also same with stepping into my intuition and my psychic abilities. It's been such a journey to get here, because I just had to sift through a lot of doubt and fear around what people would think about that, what family would think about that, because it's like I'm the anomaly in my family. So I think it's been a journey, but I know that was all over the place, but I hope that kind of answers your question.
It does.
No,
I love
did.
that,
Yeah.
Katie.
I do too.
I love that.
That's a beautiful, beautiful response.
Thank you.
And I think that we all have a little bit of that imposter syndrome, you know, especially when we're trying to start off something new that is all exciting and new. But you know, like you said, you're so fearful of what people are going to think. And I'm so glad you pushed through that, Katie, because someone needed to hear that. I think all of us have something that we're trying to push through. So that's beautiful. Once you became enlightened, and you've said it, obviously, since you were younger, you knew that. But who were your influences that really brought you to the other side of like this knowing, and even probably making the decision to start your YouTube channel?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would honestly say there's like a few people, but one big influence, like we were talking about, Joe Dispenza, he's been such a teacher on my path. And it's so funny because a lot of what he says, he's sharing a similar message. It's just in a different light. And I believe that's what all of us like, and especially a lot of your guests, I'm sure we're all sharing such a similar message. It just has our own unique flavor. And so for so long, I would listen to Joe Dispenza because a lot of what he shares is similar to what I say around like creating life of your dreams. Because amidst what's going on in the world, we get to choose that. We get to have that. It's our birthright to live our dreams, to manifest a beautiful reality, or like he says, create your future. And so I remember like the moment that I listened to one of his meditations, I was like, this is my person. Like this, everything he's sharing is truth in my body. And so it sparked that part of me to kind of start to share that as well. And then, yeah, a few others. One of my best friends, like my dear best friends, she's definitely an influence for me as well. It's funny. She actually does YouTube. You guys might know her, but she's been one of my biggest inspirations because we're very similar, and she's allowed me to she has so much confidence in what she does. And so I think me stepping into my YouTube journey, it's allowed me to see, because I'm a teacher for her as well, it's allowed me to push through that imposter syndrome around what I do, because I'm like, wow, if I'm helping impact her, I mean, like, who says that I'm not sharing a beautiful message to the world? And then another one thing I would mention in that as well is the people that I've been working with are my inspirations, like my clients that I've talked to. It's been so, so beautiful for me to witness, like the people that I've been helping and just activating as I do intuitive readings and my light language activations. Like I've seen profound or I've heard profound responses from these beautiful lights that I work with that are just complete reflections of me, of you guys. Like it's allowed me to really understand, oh yeah, what I'm doing is, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I think, it's people. It's like the lights that I'm impacting through my videos, the people that comment, I'm just astonished by their kind words and their love. And that's really what keeps me going every day, to remember, oh, this is one, what I'm supposed to be doing. Two, if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't be impacting the world and helping other people wake up, because I think each and every one of us, we carry such a big purpose here. And I've seen just a sentence that I say or one video that I post could really help impact somebody, and I've heard it has. And so it's just mind blowing to me. I'm still kind of astonished, and I'm like, what is my life right now? So yeah.
Well, I think you're right. I think a lot of people are sharing a lot of the same message, but that's a good thing, right? Because we're all different and we all have our own unique style and unique way of sharing the information. And just like you said, you may say something that impacts somebody that maybe I said it, but it didn't resonate for whatever reason, and vice versa. And so, I know that's happened for me in my life, where I've heard the same message over and over in the past, but from different people. And then all of a sudden that one day it just clicks into place because I heard it in a specific way, or maybe I was ready to hear it at that point too. So I think it's important for all of us to continue to share our messages, and the right people will resonate with your message. And you just have to trust that and be confident in that. And it sounds like you are. You're tapping into your intuition, which is so great. And I think it's something more people need to do. And one of the things that I know you talk a lot about is the ascension. And this is something that we're going through currently, which another synonymous word for that could be the Great Awakening, which is probably why we're all getting this download of information right now, and we're all stepping into our power and becoming genuine and becoming our authentic selves. Can you talk with us a little bit about the ascension? What exactly does that mean? I know most people watching us probably have heard of this or know about it, or they wouldn't be drawn to this information, but we may have some newcomers. So for those people who have never heard of this or don't know what it is, can you share a little bit with us from your understanding about what that is?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, it's funny because I think the way that, just before I begin, I think a lot of the reason why so many people resonate with the way I describe it is it's very simple. It's very easy to understand. And so I kind of try to do that so people who are new into this space or people that are awakening can really understand what it is in a much more concise way and not this big scary thing. But to me, the ascension process is what our earth is currently undergoing right now, as we're raising the collective consciousness and frequency of this planet and of humanity. And what that really means is so many souls right now, human beings, are waking up to the realization that we are more than a human being. We are connected to the spiritual realm, and we are living in the 3D right now. And a lot of what I share too is the 3D is not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just that where our world used to be, many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands years ago, we weren't as dense as we are right now. And we were living in so much harmony, so much beauty in our world. And then certain forces and energies came in. And because Earth is a free will zone, they chose to take over and essentially instill more fear and scarcity into human beings. And so our DNA has been essentially manipulated down to a 2-strand helix. And so essentially where we're going is we're basically restructuring our DNA as human beings to, I always like to say, become superhuman DNA. Because I think, again, it comes back to, we are leading ourselves towards a world which is beautiful, which is so harmonic, which is community centered, which is love centered and heart centered. And so that's another thing too, is the ascension is really just us going back to a heart centered reality, a place where we're all living in love and connected to our light. We're not blocked by fear and living away from our soul's purpose and essentially escaping our soul's purpose, because a lot of people right now, and people probably sense it, is a lot of people are completely blocked by confusion and don't know why they're here. They don't understand the greater purpose of life. And I think even people I've said that are unconscious, as I like to say, or in the matrix, on a very subtle subconscious level, they do sense what's going on. A lot of people are acting out with their emotions, with, you know, the anxiety, all of it. Everyone senses it, but a lot of people are kind of clueless as to what it really is. And so in this ascension process, over the coming years, and I've shared this before, there are going to be much more waves of souls that do wake up. Just like in the pandemic, we had a huge wave of people just wake up spiritually, consciously, and we're going to see more and more of that as we go on. And the beautiful thing too is people are waking up and becoming these like very intelligent, I always say, star seeds, light workers, light beings, people who are waking up to realizing, oh no, I have a big purpose here, because I believe each and every one of us does. And I believe anyone who watches my videos, this video, your guys' videos, they are understanding that there's more to life. They're understanding that they have a divine reason why they came here as a soul. And so in this ascension process, it's just souls essentially awakening to the truth of why they chose to come to planet Earth. And again, a part of that is healing this planet. And I've shared this before. I believe that Mother Earth heals herself. She's not the one that really needs the healing here, because there's been lots of cataclysms before where she just kicked off species. But we're here to save humanity, because humanity is the one that needs the help, because she can kick us off. But if we want to stay, and I believe Mother Earth, I talk to her a lot, she loves humans. She loves us. We're her children, but she's not going to let her children be here if we're fighting, if we're hating one another, if we're living in fear and creating chaos on her Earth and ruining her Earth. So I believe that in this as well, people are waking up to realize, oh, we need to treat Earth better. We need to treat humans better. We need to treat ourselves better, and really wake up to the love in our hearts. And so I think for anyone listening too, who is a soul awakening, or a person who's just waking up to realizing there might be more to their reality, it's because you're waking up to the realization that you are love and you are lights, is what I say. And obviously, yes, we have light and dark within us. We are everything. Even I always say, even the darker forces, the dark entities on this planet, they are all us. We're all a part of Source. We're all a part of one. But we all need to understand that we need to have compassion for one another in this process. And at the same time, I believe as you wake up, and the ascension journey is really about us coming back to our truth and just remembering who we are. And, you know, as I said, we are still all a part of the great one whole, but we are here on Earth to experience duality, to experience what it means to be an individual, to create a unique life for ourselves. And so in that, and where we are going, as I said, the new Earth, as I always share, because oftentimes I'll get visions of what that looks like, is a beautiful, beautiful place where everyone is so much like existing in their purpose and their truth here. And like I said, that's so different for everyone. But I think that a lot of people in this process can get wrapped up in the fear of what's happening. And oh my gosh, there's so much crumbling. It's so scary. Like, people are freaking out. But we're leaving the paradigm of fear. And that's really, again, I keep saying a million things for what the ascension is here, but we're leaving fear and entering love. And so if we keep feeding that paradigm of like, oh my gosh, everything's crumbling, you know, there's all the chaos, it's not allowing us to accelerate at the rate that we could. And even though we're already getting to where we're going, I've shared this, you know, the light has already won. We're already, because time outside of Earth doesn't exist. And so we've already won, and the light is already a future timeline of ours, where we are living as a collective, as a species, in a beautiful, beautiful Earth. But at the same time, like, living in fear and choosing to feed that paradigm is just going to slow that process. And so I think that, to me, it's just like coming back to your heart at the end of the day. And this is why often I share the 5D frequency and 5D manifestation, because I really think it's important for people at this time to not get lost even in spirituality. I've always shared there's like the spiritual matrix of thinking you need to be a certain way when you get into spirituality or when you wake up. It's like being spiritual is you just living from your heart, and it's just you living in joy. And I think that's a ripple that's going to heal this planet and heal humanity, is if you can just exist in your love and in your heart and follow the guidance of your soul, of your intuition, not leaning on logic or what family wants you to do or what your workplace wants you to do. Like, what do you want to do? And from that place, if you choose that, you take back your sovereignty, you are going to ripple that energy out to other people, and people will be so inspired by you and say, oh my gosh, like this person's, they've got some codes. I need to learn from them. And that's another thing I share. We all are carrying beautiful codes on this planet, no matter who you are, no matter what job you have, no matter if you're, living in Antarctica and you're not talking to anyone, you're somehow in your life you have a purpose, and you're emitting codes to this world to help heal humanity. If you follow your truth, you tune back into love, and you don't let that, you don't lead yourself in other directions towards fear or towards the doubt. You just stay in that centered place within your heart and your truth. I think that's like the code and the key to creating this new world, to the ascension process, and to also at the same time living a beautiful and easeful life. Because I think for anyone listening too, the ascension process is a very crunchy time. I'm not going to lie. It's like when you wake up, it's just like I'd say I'm like on a roller coaster and I haven't stopped, or like a rocket ship and I haven't stopped, because my journey is just like growth after learning, and it's a lot. But at the same time, you can have fun in the process. You can laugh with your friends. You can choose to have a good life. It doesn't have to be exhausting and scary. And that's something that I got trapped into. And I think even earlier this year, it was like just overloading myself with information and spiritual practices and learnings and teachings. It was so much on my psyche that I almost was like, just went into psychosis. It was so intense. And so I think taking it easy in this process, and I've shared this before, but I think anyone listening, you should, if you take anything away from this, is know less stimulation in your ascension journey is honestly the key. Because I think that the medicine is in us. I think that we hold so much of the information, and even me sharing all this information, it's been very channeled over the course of the past year. And in my videos, it's not like I went out and read a million books. It came from within, and I think we all have that ability. And so when you stimulate yourself with less information and take some baths, go on walks, be in your own energy, find good people that you love and that support you. That is what's going to accelerate your growth, even though it doesn't seem that way at first, because you're like, I'm just hanging out with myself. It's, for me, been the most healing process and the most expansive, and time where I just every day I'm learning from my own self. And so I think that that's something that just is important, and I think beautiful, if you can allow yourself to do that and just take it easy and live in love.
I love that. That's everything you just said is just right on the money. You've hit the nail on so many heads. I don't even know where to begin. And so I guess I'll start with everything, in terms of we're all awakening, and there are so many people waking up. You're absolutely right, because Tara, like you, she's been on this journey for quite some time. I've just recently, as a 50-year-old woman, jumped on. I've always been in the light, but I just didn't know more about it. So the other thing you said, which I absolutely love, was manifesting 5D. If someone was trying to, especially new at this, and I'll even put myself in that category, what are some tricks, what are some tools that they can do to get into 5D and manifest abundance? Because that's a hot topic right now, manifesting abundance. Yeah. What would you suggest for these people that would like to do that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think it always, for me, ties back to love. And sometimes when I share that, everyone's like, okay, Katie, but how do you tap into love? Let's talk about that. So for me, I think love and loving yourself, loving, anything in life, is tapping into your emotion. And Joe Dispenza talks about this as well, but it's really truly the key. And not even just feeling your emotions, in a beautiful light, and in being in love and being in joy, and not bypassing the pain, but actually feeling whatever comes up in your life, for me, has been the key to quote unquote manifesting more abundance and just manifesting in general. So what I would say is get in touch with your feeling center, with your emotions, and allow yourself to really feel. And when I say feel, is expand that energy as much as you can in whatever you're feeling. If you have a day where you're in so much grief or pain, or you're just feeling the depths of your emotions, feel it as hard as you can. And for me, that's been my journey, because it's harder for me to feel my emotions in that sense. Like, I have friends who can just purge and purge and purge, dark night after dark night. My journey hasn't really been like that. But I strengthened that muscle of learning to kind of tap into my emotion more and more. And so when I have a day where I'm feeling a bit of anxiety, I'm feeling a bit of like low energy, I will dive straight into that to alchemize it. Because I think we're here to also alchemize and transmute energy. And when you do that, you come out the other end feeling like a ball of light. So like, it's beautiful. And so going off that as well is with love. Like, if you wake up and you are feeling great, like, amplify that feeling as much as you can. Love your life. Think and tune into like the things that you love in your life. And so I guess first off, what I would say is the emotion is really diving into your emotions as much as you can will help you to really like come out the other end if it's a darker, denser energy. And then if it's love, you're amplifying that so much. And then at the same time, this is so simple, and I think it's like so cliche to say, but it's so important and has allowed me to really manifest so many things in my life, is gratitude. And I don't even just mean in the morning. Like, you can do this on paper for 5 minutes, but what I do every single day throughout my day, when I'm on walks, when I'm just in my house, I'm thinking about the people in my life that I love. I'm thinking about the things that I want to create in a future timeline that I love and am grateful for now. Like, I'm thinking about these things and amplifying that feeling as I do that, of love for those people, those things, and being grateful for that, because that is the 5D frequency. In my opinion, what I see so much is that energy of love is amplifying. And so I share with a lot of people is you don't actually have to, in the 5D, really gruelingly like just exhaust all of your energy to create, to manifest with the mind and do all this effort and like action. Like, it's important, yes, but I think the first step for anyone who's listening, who's just like, I want to live a better life, I want to manifest more abundance for myself, is tune into your heart and amplify that feeling of love and gratitude for your life. And through that, you will be amazed. And I mean this, like, amazed at the synchronicities and the miracles that are thrown onto your path. Like, my life, I feel, is a scavenger hunt and a beautiful little fairy tale, because when I amplify that feeling of love and gratitude, every day that I go out, I'm seeing confirmation of what I just tuned into, that love in my heart. And my guides, whoever you resonate with, like source, God, divine, your higher self, will send you these beautiful messages and paths to take. Because I think that when you're existing in that love, you're on your highest timeline, because again, that's where as a collective we are headed, is, the heart-centered reality. So if you're in that already, in your heart and in your body, in your house or wherever you are, you're on your highest timeline. And so Spirit Divine is going to show you timelines to take, just paths to take, things to do that just kind of get thrown on your path. And that's kind of what I say with inspired action, is it's not like you have to, okay, now I'm manifesting, now I got to go do all this stuff. It's like, it's very like, it's like effort, and it's like the mind, and we want to get away from that. And so I think that let yourself, if there's one thing you do to cultivate more abundance, is try to amplify that feeling of love in your heart, in your life. And through that, be aware of the signs that Spirit shows you, because I always say, like, the subtle signs are what we have to watch out for. And so you might be walking and you might have this weird inclination in your heart to go to a specific class that night, and then you meet a specific person you're meant to meet. Like, these little things will happen to you along your way. You might get the inclination to move somewhere, and you're like, your logical mind is saying, no, why would I do that? But your heart's like, I don't know, we should. Like, follow that guidance of your heart. And so going off that as well, as I think to manifest more abundance, it's really truly through following your heart and following, I always say, your heart, your intuition, your soul. It's all one and the same. When you follow that, you will never be led astray, and you will be led down a path of miracles for your life. And I think a lot of people don't do that because it's so natural. I still get caught up in that, right? We follow the logic, or what really makes logical sense. And I think that if everyone were to tune into their hearts and their intuition and guide their life based on that, we would all be not only living in the new earth, we would also be individually living our most magical life. So I think following your intuition and your heart, and then amplifying the emotion and trying as much as you can to just be grateful for the life that you have, that is the code to manifesting. And I will just say one other thing is, for myself, like I said, I was working a corporate job. I was, working corporate job, and I still in that time found a way to exist in love throughout my day and like be happy for where I was. And I was still able to allow myself to travel while I was working this remote job, and go to Guatemala and Costa Rica. Like I found ways because I prioritized that happiness in my heart, and then it propelled me into here I am like a year later. So doing these YouTube videos. So yeah, I think that that's really important, is just follow your intuition, follow your heart, and remember too that I think patience is a big thing, and a theme in my life for sure is we do live in a 3D world right now, and so time and space does unfortunately exist here. So our journeys are all very different. It's very unique to us. So somebody might cultivate, or manifest something in a week, whereas your journey might be a month or 5 years. Like we don't understand why this happens, but it's just divine timing. And so we have to just be patient with our path. And I think that's what allowed me to get to where I am now, is I was very patient in this process. There were days where I was very impatient, but I had to be patient through it and just trust that this was coming for me. I was like, no, this is what I want. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I think for like years and years and years, I knew I was supposed to be helping people. But I didn't know how that was going to play out. And so I just trusted that it'll happen when it is meant to. And then now I'm sitting here, I'm like, what's my life? So I think patience is a big key as well, because trust that it's going to happen. And one other thing I will say too is I think a lot of people, because we live in that time space reality, people do become very impatient of like, oh, well, it hasn't arrived in a month. Like it must not be working. This manifestation thing doesn't work. Let me just like go back to my old habits and lean on limiting beliefs. And it's like so easy to do that. But it's just like, we haven't given ourselves enough time to allow the universe, God, to give that gift into our life. So yeah, patience and trusting that it will happen at the right time that it's meant to.
There's something really profound, I think, that is a phrase that you use, and it's a terminology. It's called ego death. And I wanted you to talk a little bit more about that. And why does the ego have to die?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think too, in that, I mean, I've shared this before, but we have so many ego deaths in our life, and it's like an ever evolving process, because I believe our soul comes into this world and we have so many layers to sift through. Even though our soul is there, it's always guiding us. We have the layer of the ego, and I believe there's multiple layers. And really what that is to me, like ego deaths, is you coming back to the remembrance of your soul. It's you finding your soul and shedding those layers of you that aren't actually you. Because again, we all come into this reality. We come into these lives. I chose to be Katie Horton, and create this construct around who I am because of the family that I have, the DNA that I've dropped into, and the life that I have. Like it's all a complete perception and like character that I've almost created. And my soul is underneath. Like we all have, Tracy Tara, there's like your souls are all within us, but we have those characters that we live in, and it serves a purpose. It's beautiful. And again, we're here to really like have this beautiful life within ourselves and be like a character. So you will. But I think that ego deaths are us, finding our souls again and really like shedding those layers that aren't actually us, coming back to our truth and coming back to the love in our heart. And so for me, I've had a lot of them on my journey. And this year, I think I've gone through a lot where I just have really shed those parts of me that I had to question, is this even me? Like, is this even who Katie is? Like, who created this person, this belief, or whatever story I was writing in my mind? One great example is the job. I had that corporate job, and I always knew it wasn't for me. I always knew that. But, society growing up, it was like ingrained that that's what you do. You go to college, you get the job. And so I had this download one day that dropped in and said, quit your job. And I was petrified. I was so scared, but I was like, I have to do this. And I think that's one great example of just like a quote unquote ego death. Was in that moment, I knew I had to let go of this story of who I thought I was in this job, providing me stable income as I was living in a different country. Like it was just terrifying for me. But I think, and that's something that goes into that, is it can be really scary and really uncomfortable, because you're letting a part of yourself go that it feels safe and that you've known your whole life. And so when you make the decision from your heart, your intuition, to say, I'm going to change, or I'm going to like let go of this story, it can be really uncomfortable and really just like, uncomfortable. And I think for anyone listening too is, it sounds like a scary word, like ego death, but it's just you letting go of parts of you that you almost like built up in this life, that it's time to let go. It's time to move on. It's time to let more of your soul shine through, let more of your heart shine through. And so it doesn't have to be a scary process. It doesn't have to be, daunting. It's just like, let yourself, I always say to people, like, let it be an easeful process and honestly nurture yourself as you do it, because I think that's something too that people need to hear more of, is like, we are all little babies at heart. Like, we're all, our inner child is still so potent within us. It's just sometimes for people, it's very deep down in there. But you really being nurturing and loving towards yourself is giving yourself permission to be more of you, to love that inner child within you, because that's essentially what, as well as, our souls within us, it's still that little baby child. Because when we're birthed onto this earth, we're just little rays of light, untouched by the world, unscarred. And then we go about life and we create these stories and these belief systems that weren't actually resonant to our soul, that we didn't want, but just were a byproduct of us existing in a dense 3D world in this world right now. And so I think, like, in this process, be really nurturing and loving towards yourself. And that goes back to what I was saying about emotion, is letting yourself feel emotions, because it's really, really scary for some people. For me, like I said, it's always been hard for me to dive deep into the dark end of my emotions. But it's liberating yourself to have those ego deaths, to shed those parts of you and those traumas, those shadows, those parts of you that just, are those like complete false identities. And so let yourself feel, let yourself dive into giving yourself that love, almost like you would look at a little child, like your child, and you would say, like, you wouldn't tell them to stop crying and like to cover up their emotions. You say, like, feel, I understand you. That's what we want to do for ourselves. And I think in that process, you're going to find that you're going to become a whole new human. I mean, I say this, like, the person I was last year was a completely different human. And it's because I dove deep into the shadows. I dove deep into the things I didn't want to look at, my ego and all of these things. And I just faced them head on. And I, in the process as well, trusted my heart. I trusted the guidance of my soul, and just dove in deep to where my soul was guiding me. And it just allowed me to shed more and more layers. And I think it's too, like, for anyone listening, is it's such a beautiful process, because it's almost like you're this, I see it as this like flower that's just blossoming. And one day you're going to look back on your life and just be astonished at your journey, at your courage and strength to push through those dark times and push through the ickiness in your body that you don't want to look at, and just say, like, you know what? Like, I'm so proud of myself. I have come so far. And I can say that about myself. I can say that about all of my friends and people that I see. It's just like, I have so much love for people to go into that side of themselves and have that bravery to do that, because a lot of people, as I said, there are a lot of people on this earth that are not doing that and that will not do that. I think that there's like 5% maybe of the population in the world that's awakened, maybe less than that. And most of the world, obviously that will grow as time goes on, but most of the world will not ever have ego deaths, will not ever go into their emotions or tap into that heightened part of themselves. And so I always tell people, like, you're a gift. You are a gift to this world. You are a powerful soul. You have a very big mission. And if that mission is just you healing yourself, you're doing enough for the world, because we are here for ourselves first. I believe until you can go on to heal the world, to impact the world, focus on you. Focus on, like, healing yourself and diving into your shadows and like what's within you that you want to change. Because if you want to live that life of your dreams, it's your birthright. But like, focus on you first. And then, I think that that's like the thing, just people need to be reminded of that always. And so it's knowing that, like, we're all anomalies out here. Like, all of us on this call and anyone listening, we're all anomalies compared to the most of the world. And so I say this to my audience a lot, like, your existence is a gift to humanity, because what you're doing here, doing the work, even just if you're watching this and you're just aware of these words that I'm sharing, you are impacting the world, because light is awareness. Awareness is light. And so you have this awareness of like, oh, wow, I am here for more. And that's just doing so much for the world. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I agree with everything that you just said. It's incredible. There's something really important that you said there, though, that I think could resonate with a lot of people. And it's something that struck me is, if you're feeling called, let's say you're in your 9 to 5 job and that's just not where your passion is, and you're feeling called to do something else in the world, you have permission to do that. I'm telling you right now, you have permission. You can go out and do whatever you want to do. You don't have to be in your 9 to 5 job if that's not what serves you and it's not what's in your heart. So many of us are, as you mentioned earlier, kind of brought up to have these certain belief systems, right, that are instilled in us through our parents and through society and through school and friends. And you can question those things. You don't have to take them in as your truth. And when you actually do look at, what do I really want for myself? You are allowed to make decisions to make yourself happy. And it's interesting. I was having dinner with friends the other night, and one of the couples that was with us has an adult daughter, semi-adult daughter. She's getting ready to go to college, and she's also trying to get a job. And they were talking about how, gosh, she needs to hurry up and get this type of a job. And there was a lot of stress around this conversation about what kind of job she was going to have and how much money she was going to make. And it was interesting. There was an older person at the table, and she actually made a comment, which I was really surprised by. And she said, you can make money in a lot of ways these days. You don't have to go and sit in an office where you don't have daylight all day long. And I thought, wow, that was so awakened of her to say that, especially at like the older age, because I feel like the older generation, a lot of people have gone through all of this and they've kind of put it behind them. They're not, and not to say that they're not awakened, because there's plenty of people that are, but there's a lot of them that are just kind of like, oh, well, this is what we did. We when we grew up, we went to school and then we got our job and then now we're retired and this is how we live our life. So for her to say that, it was actually a really eye-opening moment. And I was like, oh, that was really great that she said that. I don't know if it sunk into the parents. Who knows? We'll find out. But I thought that was really great. And it was a very interesting insight that I had in that moment, witnessing this conversation. But switching gears here, just briefly, Katie, I would love to talk about, and I know you talk about this in your videos, quantum leaping. I think this topic is very fascinating. I am super interested in hearing what your thoughts are on this. I know you share a little bit about it with your videos. Could you share with our audience, what is quantum leaping, first of all? And then how does one quantum leap if they want to?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, to me, it ties into like the 5D manifestation and really just like accessing your heightened timeline. But to me, quantum leaping is like bypassing time and space and entering a whole new reality within your own life. And I think we can all do this within our own life. And I haven't posted this yet, but I made a video kind of about this, about quantum leaping and really accelerating your timeline. Because I think all of us, we're already accelerating at a rapid rate, but there's ways to request it and there's ways to accelerate your path. And I believe I've done this. Again, I think this whole past year has been like a quantum leap for me, where you almost do these things in your life where you look back and you're like, how did I actually get here? It feels like time like passed really quickly. And quantum leaping, in my opinion, is really like, almost jumping onto a heightened timeline within your own life. And we can do this, in a day, we can do this in a month, we can do it whenever. But I think for people who, as I said, anyone watching, you're probably waking up, you're probably aware of like the shift of the earth. But if you're somebody who wants to really quantum leap into a new reality in your own life and create a whole new, world in your own life, you can request this. I always say like an affirmation you can say, I intend to access my highest timeline today. Something around the lines, you can make your own words with that. But I said that like every day for a week about a year ago, and my entire life shifted. So I always say to people, tread with caution, because it's like spirit will hear your requests when you want to accelerate, and will give you rapid growth. Because as I said, we're already expanding at a rapid rate. But if you're somebody who's like, you want to step more into your mission, you want to step more into like what you came here to do, you want to live that dream life, you want to create a beautiful, beautiful life for yourselves, you can do that. And you can request that your guides, whoever you resonate with, source, divine, help and assist you in this process to accelerate your journey and put you on track to your highest timeline. You can ask them to do that. And I think in quantum leaping, what ties into that is building a relationship with, as I said, your guides or your higher self. I believe they're all one and the same, divine, and really a higher power for yourself to assist you in this process, because we're never alone and we're not meant to do it alone, even though this journey can often feel like you're alone. For me, it's felt like that at times, but you're never alone. And so lean on your guides, lean on your intuition, lean on these forces or beings that can help you. And as well, I think in this process, what's important is making sure you have a tribe or a friend of soul friends, people that really back your mission or your life and just support you in whatever way. They don't have to fully understand you, but as long as they're there to support you on this journey, this is very important, because as I mentioned, I went through a very big acceleration this past year. And had I not had the friends that I had in this journey, I would have been driving myself to insanity. So I think it's important that we don't do this alone, because we need to be sharing our epiphanies, our downloads, our life with people that understand us or love us and support us in this. Otherwise, you can drive yourself into a hole and feel like there's no one to back you or no one that, is there for you. So I think that that's important. But yeah, I think going back to really how this works, how to quantum leap, is it's truly, truly so simple. And I know some people are like, these words are so simple, but it's truly what I've done in my life is following the voice of your soul, following your intuition in all of this, while at the same time having that connection to that higher power and trusting that they're guiding you and you are on this journey towards your mission, and never letting yourself like fall into, not that it's not going to happen, like doubt will creep in, fear will creep in, but when those thoughts creep in, just telling yourself, this is where I'm going. This is what I want. And I think that that's what I've always done, is very, very clearly intended where I wanted to be and where I was going. And amidst the doubt, amidst the ego deaths, amidst all the craziness in my life, I still stayed on the path. I still stayed committed to that vision and to that feeling of love of where I wanted to be, and made that a daily practice in my life. And that is where I'm here a year later, like, what the heck has happened? So I think that that's really the key. It's not a hard process. It doesn't have to be like this whole thing. And I think something that about, and not that this is bad, but with the manifestation space, it can get very much in the mind. We can get very like, okay, we got to do all these methods. We got to do all these practices. And it's like, I want to simplify it down for people who are new to this path or just want to not have to stress over what they have to be doing. Because again, it's like the logical mind almost getting in the way. Just let yourself exist in the love. Let yourself intend very clearly of what you want, where you want to be, trusting that your guides are with you. And whenever you're in this process as well, if you need clear guidance, if you need support, you can call on, your guides. You can call on your higher self to help you. And they will help you. Like, they will step in and help you. You can talk to them, and it will also build that muscle of intuition too as well. And that's kind of how I've built mine. And so it's going to be a fun journey. Let it be fun. Let yourself quantum leap into a new timeline with ease and with love. And yeah, like I said, you'll look back and be like, wow, like that was a simple journey. But as I said, like, just know that when you request that, you're going to be on a journey of like rapid growth. And so I think for people too, is knowing that this is something that's important, is even though we call in this dream life, and I always share like living in love and harmony, we're pushing through a lot of our ego, a lot of fear. And so it's also like you're going to be pushing through that crunchiness, and that fear will almost feel like it's amplifying. You might even feel in moments like you're going backwards, but it's just a product or byproduct of you expanding into more love, is feeling the fear more intensely, feeling things falling out of your life. This is important too, is when you quantum leap, you will notice that people who are not in resonance with your frequency will leave your life. You will, as I said, quit jobs. You will maybe let go of jobs. Like, things will happen because it's just you're stepping into a new frequency. Because as we quantum leap, we are literally accelerating our frequency, and we're stepping into a whole new consciousness. And so people, things, and experiences that aren't in resonance with that, they're going to have to go. So it's going to seem like your life might be getting a little crazy, but it's just smooth through it and trust in the process. Trust that it's all happening for your greater good and for you to quantum leap into a whole new life.
You share about light codes. What are light codes, for anyone's listening who doesn't really know about light codes and hasn't heard of it before, and how do they influence us?
Yeah, so I think that basically, as I said, come into this world as a soul, into our human bodies, we already carry a lot of light codes within us. And especially if you're somebody who's awakened, you're watching this and you're somebody who's aware, you are, I believe, a light worker. You have light in your body because you're aware of the shift. And when you're aware, you're aware of the light. And so light codes are really like those codes within us that we're spreading to the world, to other humans that are impacting them in one way or another. And this, again, there's millions and millions of light codes, but they're all so unique to us. And I believe each and every one of us carries like millions of different light codes within us that are somehow, some way impacting every single person that we come in contact with to help, whether it's help them wake up, whether it's put a smile on their face, whether it's to help inspire them in some way. Our codes in our bodies are shining out onto these people. And I see it too, like, because we all have, an auric field, like it's shining out to people that when we come in contact with them and our fields touch, we transfer codes to one another. And my friends and I actually, one of my best friends, we always say we transfer codes, because I'll be going through something in my life. She'll be going through something completely opposite. And the next week we switch. We have the same exact experience. It's because we're swapping codes with one another, which is really cool to experience. And at the same time, light codes, I also see and have been shown, is on our journey of ascension, of awakening, is spirit, the divine source, our guides are sending us light codes in this process to help us ascend at a stable rate and raise our frequency. Because again, as we raise our frequency, we're raising like the love in our body and the light in our body. So we have to hold more, expand into more light. So they're almost sending us down more light. And I see it as well. We get light codes from Mama Earth. We get it from the sun. But essentially, for anyone listening, what I see it as is they're just codes that are somehow, some way impacting other humans and this world and helping raise the frequency of our planet, which is pretty beautiful. And something I do as well is I do light language activations. And so when I channel light language, it's I always say it's light codes, it's light frequencies that are channeling healing and activations for people through sound. So they can come through as sound, they can come through as light, they can come through as like so many different things in this world. And so yeah, it's kind of just my understanding of light codes is really just that. They're just very much healing codes and helping us in our journey to step into a heightened frequency, to raise our consciousness. And there's millions and millions of them. It's just to know that we all carry so many of them. And at the same time, Spirit is sending us more on this journey so that we can all kind of like regulate ourselves in this dense 3D world and be able to be here as bright souls and not lose ourselves in the process. So.
Well, I think that is so important right now. I think the world needs healing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of chaos at the moment. There's a lot in the political realm, in social media, just what you see on the news every day. There's just so much taking place. And, I think a lot of people have made a lot of predictions in the last year or so about what's coming up. And I'm just curious, do you have any ideas or thoughts about what we can anticipate, what's coming up for us in the future, and how can we kind of get ready for something like that?
Yeah. I mean, and I always say this to people, like, as I channel information, I believe we all are accessing, all channelers, all psychics are accessing so many different timelines that we don't know which one's going to play out. Like, it could be anything. That said, though, what I've tuned into and what I see is, and it's interesting because, the election is tomorrow as we are filming this right now. What I have been shown is that, like, no matter what happens, is we're still getting to our end goal, which is allowing the light to shine through, people taking back our sovereignty, humanity existing in more love and light on this earth that we're creating. And so what I see is, and again, with time, it's really hard for me to understand time on this journey, but I see it almost within like a 500-year period, is that we are going to be living in a whole new world, a whole new life, because with the process of what's occurring on our planet, a lot of souls, and I've tuned into this in 2025, I've seen there's going to be like a whole new wave of souls that wake up on a very big level. And for anyone listening, it's actually going to be a whole different frequency from kind of like the pandemic wave that woke up. Like, for me, it was this beautiful, like, so much beauty awakening. So many people are going to wake up that are just kind of realizing, oh my God, what's happening? Like, why is this earth doing this? Like, what's humanity doing? So it's going to be almost like quote unquote normal people that just had the epiphany of realizing, oh no, we need to change things. Like, and people are already doing that. You're already seeing it, but I see more and more people are going to kind of realize, And I've always tuned into sovereignty is new earth. Sovereignty is the future. So where we are headed is a world that is living in sovereignty, where people are taking back their power, stepping more into their mission, their purpose, leaving the logical mind. I almost see it as people are just kind of like dropping in, their souls are like waking up in their body and they're like, oh my gosh, why was I doing that? Like people are having these light bulb moments of realizing I'm not going to live this way. What the heck? And just completely shifting the reality, because again, what's happening is we need the speed up to, even though it's speeding up, there's like the need for it to speed up even more. And I have chills saying that because I think we're all very aware of the chaos on this earth. And so a lot of the little beings that are being birthed onto the planet next year and in future years are these very vibrant star seeds and lights that just carry so much heightened consciousness within them, because they're helping humanity wake up at a rapid rate with what's happening. Because and going off the election too, it's like whoever like wins, it's really, we're getting to our end goal because the light has already won, as I described, because outside of Earth, time doesn't actually exist. And so we're almost just like kind of all coming back. All of us souls are coming back to the past to get us towards the future. It's really hard for even my human brain to understand that. I don't understand that, but I see it and I'm like, okay. But yeah, so we're heading towards a world built on sovereignty, where humanity kind of realizes we need to come back together. If we want to save our species, if we want to come back to living in more love and living in our truth, living a life that actually feels good, where we're not fighting each other, we're not harming each other, like, let's do that. And so people are going to start waking up and realizing that, like, it's really bringing back like humanity, and bringing back humanity to the understanding that we are here to have beautiful lives. And I think, and it can sometimes make me emotional when I talk about it and tune into it, because it's just going back to as like a little girl. And I think all of us, when we're children, we are at that understanding of sovereignty, of love, of peace in our heart, and just 5D harmony in our life. And then we go out the world and condition ourselves to live in fear, and we're leaving that paradigm. So essentially, for anyone listening, what's happening is like an entire paradigm based on fear, based on giving our power over to forces who it's time for them to go. It's time for them to step aside. It's like we're stepping into a whole new paradigm of love and of sovereignty. And so it's so beautiful. But in that process, we're kind of here. This is where we're going. This is where we've been. And we're here right now. So it feels like we're almost in the void. I think a lot of people even feel that a bit. It's like, what's actually happening? Some people, it feels like time is slowing down. Some people, it feels like it's speeding up. Everyone's having their own experience right now, because we're in the midst of a complete shattering of an old paradigm and system. And these forces that were controlling human beings are starving, because they're seeing what's happening. They're trying to latch on to the light, to like the last little bits of power that they can, because they know that they're losing. They know that the light is winning, and that we're all waking up, because again, light is information. And as we are all waking up, we are just shedding more light onto this planet. So those people who were controlling humans for so long, they're like, oh dear God, they're aware, they see us, you know. And as we shed more of that light, it's just like we're getting towards our end goal of a harmonic world. And so I think for people listening is just remember, like, don't get terrified in this process. Fear will arise, yes, doubt will arise, and it's to hold compassion for everything that occurs, because I'm very aware, we're all very aware of the places around the world, around the globe, where terrible things are happening to people. And it's like really, really scary and sad and emotional for me to even think about. But it's also knowing that every single one of us, I believe, chose our life, chose our existence. Everyone's aware of why we came here, even those that are not fully aware on a conscious level. Your soul had a reason for coming here. Your soul knew that it was time to come and change the script, to take back our sovereignty, to live in more light and create an entirely new world. And so in that, and I think that's why when I share my message, I have so much passion, is because I really want people to see that, like, you chose your life, you have a purpose, light has won, live in love. And like, that's how we're going to create a new world. We're not going to do it by feeding into the old paradigm of fear and letting ourselves fall into our stories and our ego, you know? So I think that, yeah, going off of your question, it's just, we are creating an entirely new paradigm, a new entire life. And it's like crazy for me to even see, because I see the vision, but it's like to put it into words is so hard to describe, because what's going to take place for us to get there is crumbling of systems, and I've shared this before, like in America, we live in America, you know, a lot of the food systems, a lot of the quote unquote darker systems that are created in this world are unfortunately in this country. And so that's why as well, a lot of light workers actually have entered into America. Yes, it's a massive country, but a lot of us came here to rewrite the script because our country needs to be rewritten. Our country needs some work. So much love to this country, but and we're kind of all aware of that. It needs to change. And so as we do that too, and as this country shifts, as paradigms shatter here, it's going to ripple out into the entire world and help heal this world. And so, yeah, and I give, again, grace to everyone in the world who is wherever they are, whatever they're going through. It's hold compassion for yourself and for others, but don't fall into the victim mentality of like, well, I don't want to be here. I didn't choose to be here. I've shared this before, but I always like back up this planet and back up humanity, because I'm like, everyone's always in the spiritual space. A lot of people can say, you know, it's so dense. I never want to come back to Earth. I hate being here. But I'm like, you chose to be here because you're a way shower, because you are someone who could do this change and could do the work. A lot of people can't do that, and you chose to be here. And then when you take back that power and you don't live in that victim consciousness, but you live in your own responsibility for being here, that's when things change. That's when Earth starts to become a beautiful world. And that's when years from now, and I see it as not far, like I really truly see it as 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we're going to be living in an entirely new Earth where we're all going to realize, wow, it was worth going through what we went through, you know? So I think to people, just stick through it, let yourself coast through with ease, and know that the rockiness is just a byproduct of us going towards a beautiful world, a new Earth.
You say something that's pretty, I think sums it all up. And to piggyback on what you just said about being safe and just get through it, it's going to be a better on the other side, is you said in one of your videos, you know, there's big things coming. It's going to be rocky, crunchy, as you say, and you are on a roller coaster, but you are locked in. You are safe. You're strapped in. Take the ride and get to the other side. I thought that was just perfectly said for anyone who might be a little anxietal. But one step further, for those of you who can't just hear it, what are some things that people can do to stay grounded during these times? Because they are, I mean, let's just face it. We don't know, like you just said, we are filming the day before the election. And I think that we should all really, as much as we possibly can, manifest light over these next days, because it could be a little crazy. But back to my question, how can we stay grounded between now and obviously next year? Because it is going to be a little silly.
Yeah, I keep hearing like feeding into what you don't want to see more of is really like not what we should be doing. Is like allow yourself to remember, as I going back to like the theme of this podcast, and kind of my message is knowing that you can create a harmonic, beautiful world within your own life. And yes, amidst the chaos in the world and amidst what's going on, and it can feel very ungrounding, I think that it's remembering you get to, again, choose to live in that 5D world within your own life and not feed into the energies of what's going on. That said, though, as you said, I'm very aware, it's like we're all living our own lives. Some people are in that system or have to watch the news or do certain things where they have to be aware of what's going on. And so it's just to like let yourself not get consumed by the emotion of what, because oftentimes I believe, like, you know, I've even seen it with family, or just like I pass the news, it's like, whoa, and I get really emotional. I mean, what happened with the hurricane in Florida recently, I have family in Florida and I used to live there, and it just brought up this so much like pain in my body and just like emotion for a week. But it was because I was watching a lot of the news of what was going on, and it just like, it made me feel very ungrounded. And so I think there's a balance of being aware and also letting yourself come back to being in your own energy and not needing to feed all of it. And at the same time, what I would just say, to be honest, is Mother Nature. I share a lot of this, but I think being in nature, grounding yourself, even if it's not something you can do physically with like being by the trees, make sure that you're visualizing. And something I think can help people is just visualizing that you are a cord of light, and there's a cord of light coming in from up above you, from the cosmos, through your body, the channel in your body, all your chakras, and down into the earth. That is anchoring you and grounding you here. Because again, going back to the light codes and us on our ascension journey, it's important for us to be grounded here, because as we ascend, we must descend, because we are human beings at this point in time. And it's our purpose to help anchor the light here. And it's not only helping the world, but it's helping you stay grounded in these times. So I think that visual can really help people whenever you're feeling a bit like anxious or ungrounded, is just visualizing that you're that cord of light. And then if you can, I personally wholeheartedly believe this is like what has helped my journey so much, is going out in nature and talking to nature. It sounds maybe weird to some people, but I believe that we can all talk to Mama Earth. I call her Mama Earth because like I love her so much. I think we can all talk to her. And if you just go hang out by the trees, if you put your bare feet in the earth, that is really, really helping you in this journey, because again, we're all feeling a bit ungrounded no matter what happens. And it's really important to do this, to come back within your own heart, within your own body, and feel that support of Mother Earth. Because I think too, as I said, we're never alone. We have our guides, we have, friends, family, but even if you don't have friends or family, you have the earth, the planet, and you are a child of this planet. I believe each and every one of us, again, we're humans, we're on this earth. And so I think that when you go and talk to her, she wants, and I've actually channeled Mother Earth a few times. I feel her energy. She just wants people to recognize her. She wants people to love her. And I think so many people don't do that, even people that are conscious, because a lot of spiritual people, we want to like leave Earth. We're like, I want to like go up into the crown and like connect to the spiritual realm. But like, I have news for people. Like, we are on Earth, and she is our mother at this time, and she wants our recognition. She wants the love. She wants you to see. She wants to see that you see her. And so I think that, and in that too, what I've been told by her is she will support our journeys so much. And this goes back to the quantum leaping, to manifestation. When you lean on Mother Earth, when you talk to her, and just even again, for people listening who's like, never done that before, what does that even mean? Just go sit out on a rock, sit out on the dirt, sit out by a tree. I always say putting your back up against a tree is really powerful, because trees will transmute our energy, our negative energy, and send it down into Mother Earth's core. That is going to be such a powerful practice for you to cultivate a relationship with this planet, but also to be supported in your dreams. Because when Mother Earth sees that you recognize her, you love her, she is going to skyrocket your journey, your success, and everything in your life. So I think it's something that a lot of people don't actually talk about enough, but Mother Earth is, at this moment in time, she is crying. She is hurting. I said this before, it's almost like humanity is like a virus right now on her land, because of how we're treating each other, how we're treating this planet. And I think people need to give her their love. Like, start to pay attention to her. You can even hear her. She will talk to you. If you put your ear up against a tree, if you build that relationship, she will start to talk to you. And it even can make me emotional sometimes, because I can feel her energy very strongly, and her pain. And so I think that, I think at this point in time, build a relationship with this planet, build a relationship with Mother Earth, because it will help your journey. It will help you stay grounded, and it will help you actually ascend at a rapid rate, far greater than you would if you didn't have that relationship with her. So.
Well, I have a palm tree that I planted, and I love my baby palm tree.
Aww.
I mean, she's probably only about 2.5 years old right now, so she's still pretty small, but she's growing a lot. And I've even given her a name. Her name is Penelope Palm. And her nickname is Penny, so Penny Palm Tree. And
Wow.
I actually talk to her all the time, and she's beautiful, and I love her, and I appreciate her. So I love that you shared that about Mother Earth and, connecting with nature. I think that's so important. I know Tracy has seen me do it.
I love that. Beautiful.
But I think it's also important for us to remember everything is happening for us. It is not happening to us.
Yeah.
And if we think of that and remember that, that helps us take back, responsibility with our life and the things that are happening to us. So, and for us, I should say, as I just said that. But I just am so appreciative of you, Katie. You are amazing. You have shared so much knowledge and information. And I know that you have a YouTube channel, and you also offer energetic healings, light code activations, intuitive readings. You do it all. So can you let anybody know who's listening, number one, where they can find you? And then also, do you have a final message that you can leave everybody with as well?
Yeah, of course. Everyone can find me on YouTube. My name is Katie Horton, and it's just KATIIE HORTON as my username on YouTube. And that's kind of like the main place to find me, really. I'm really on there the most. So check out my YouTube if you're interested. It's funny, for my final message, I keep hearing the word patience over and over and over from my guides in this call. So I think that what they want to share with people is, again, understanding that this journey is unique to you. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't treat yourself like you're not in the right place. This has been something for me, because I tend to be so hard on myself throughout my life, is just like needing to be somewhere other than right now where I am. So be patient. And in that process too, being patient is actually such a beautiful thing to learn in your life, because you realize when you get to the final destination, there was actually no rush and you were going to get there regardless. So yeah, just let yourself be patient in the process and nurture you. And I think a final message that's, again, important is remembering the fact that you are here for you first. And yes, we're here for humanity. We're here for the world and Mama Earth, but really focus on you first and tune into what you need to do in your life to help yourself heal, to help yourself grow and evolve. And through that process, you will be helping heal the world. You will be helping impact humanity in a massive way. But it starts with you and being patient with yourself as well, because it can be really easy for us to be like, come on, like, let's move forward. But I think that that's the greatest gift that you can give to yourself in this world, is be patient and trust that your journey is so unique and you're going to get the place that you want to be eventually. And I always say to people, and I think it's important for people to remember, your existence is a gift to humanity, because it really is. Like, you chose to be here, as we keep talking about. You have a big role here, and you're a gift to this world. So thank you all for listening to me today.
Well, you are a gift to us, and you are such a bright light, Katie, and you have so much positive energy, and we just so appreciate you. I just love your energy, and I love you, and I just want to say thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oh, so much love. Thank you so much.